ඔෆිස් එකේදී විතරක් නෙවෙයි මම දැන් ගෙදරදීත් IDD calls ගන්න SLT phone එකේ.
ඔබේ නිවසේ SLT දුරකථනය දැන් IDD පහසුකම සහිතයි.
Good evening. Tonight, in the 11th hour, a special discussion at the President's House headed by President Maithripala Sirisena and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe currently underway, just a day before the no-confidence motion. Simplifying tax. Finance Minister Mangala Samaravira clarifies on the new tax rates and says that the government will win the no-confidence motion.
We have full confidence of winning it.
Heading to new heights, Sri Lankan Airlines gets a new director board headed by Ranjit Fernando. The previous board resigned, allowing the government's proposed restructuring plan for the airline. And in business, rising prices, oil hits $70 a barrel. Will Sri Lanka see its implications? What goes up must come down. The Chinese space station plunges back to Earth, crashes into the South Pacific Ocean. It's 9 o'clock on the dot from wherever you are in the world. Welcome to First at 9, Derana's premier English news bulletin. Hello everyone, I'm Mahesh Johnny. Many stories to report to you tonight, but we begin with promising news on the national carrier. After much talk of a viable plan to restructure and uplift the loss-making national carrier, a new board of directors will take over operations at Sri Lankan Airlines starting tomorrow. A veteran banker and one-time public servant Ranjit Fernando has been appointed as the chairman of the new board. Other board members, including Mano Thittawella, Sasantha Katugampala, Dr. Roshan Pereira and Air Marshal Kapila Jampathy. The new board has been appointed considering the resignation of the previous board on the 29th of March. The previous board, chaired by Ajit Dias, made its decision to step down on the 30th of November last year, allowing the government's proposed restructuring plan for Sri Lankan Airlines to proceed. The government appointed a ministerial subcommittee under Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and a top-level official committee headed by Treasury Secretary Dr. R.H.S. Samarathunga to recommend the strategy to revive the loss-making national carrier. According to the latest fiscal management report of the Financial Ministry, delays in the restructuring process have increased the burden of business loss to the entity. The loss of the airline has increased to 28.4 billion rupees in the review period of 2017 compared to a loss of 12.6 billion rupees recorded in the previous year. Let's get you the latest on a developing story. A special discussion is currently underway at the President's House in Colombo, headed by President Maithripala Sirisena and parliamentarians representing the UPFA, led by the SLFP. It is reported that they are discussing on a final decision on the party regarding the no-confidence motion against the Prime Minister. A short while ago, another meeting concluded at the President's House. It was held with the participation of the President, Prime Minister and group of UNP ministers, as well as UPFA and SLFA ministers and parliamentarians. We will keep a close watch on that story and bring you the outcome of that. Well, meanwhile, UNP ministers and parliamentarians also held discussions on the no-confidence motion against the Premier yesterday. The discussions were followed by another meeting held at Temple Trees today.
A special meeting was held between Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and several ministers representing the UNP last night regarding the no-confidence motion against the Premier and the restructuring of the party. The meeting was held at the residence of Minister Malik Samaravikrama. Party members, Chairman Minister Malik Samaravikrama, General Secretary Minister Kabir Hashim, Minister Ranjit Maduma Bandara, as well as State Ministers Payatharange Bandara and Vasantha Sena Nayaka, Deputy Minister Ashok Abe Singha and Parliamentarian Ranjit Aluvihare and several others had participated at the meeting. The discussion, spanning over 2 hours, had focused on changes necessary within the party. Political sources claimed our decision to remove senior members, Ministers John Amaratunga and Gamini Jayawikrama Pereira, for their relevant ministerial portfolios and be replaced by younger parliamentarians. Meanwhile, upon request by the Prime Minister, 17 parliamentarians who were engaged in a tour of China returned to Sri Lanka before scheduled. It's reported that the Premier had requested the MPs to participate at the parliamentary session on the 4th of April, during which the vote of the no-confidence motion will take place. These parliamentarians, as well as a group of UMP MPs, met with the Prime Minister at Temple Trees this afternoon.
We discussed about restructuring the UNP. Prime Minister advised all UNP parliamentarians to keep their schedule free on the 7th and 8th of April to discuss further on the matter. All members of the United National Front, including Venerable Athurali Ratanathera, participated at the discussion today. All of us unanimously decided to defeat the motion of no confidence. This is a no confidence motion against the government, and all of us, including the President and Prime Minister, are part of this government. The President will also be defeated if the no-confidence motion wins.
Meanwhile, speaking to other Derana, opposition leader R. Sambandhan said the Tamil National Alliance will make its final decision on the no-confidence motion tomorrow. Responding to other Derana, Deputy General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress, Nizam Kariyappa, also said that his party will make a final decision on the matter tomorrow.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa warned newly elected Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna members to the Arachikattuwa Pradesha Sabha to fulfill their responsibilities and uphold the trust vested upon them by the people or face motions of no confidence. The former president made this remark today addressing a ceremony in Colombo.
Newly elected members to the Arachikattuwa Pradesha Sabha representing the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna took oaths before former President Mahinda Rajapaksa at his residence today. Arachikattuwa Pradesha Sabha's former chairman Jagat Samantha Pereira, who is remanded for breaching bail conditions pertaining to a previous court case, was also brought to the premises under police security.
This government faces a no-confidence motion in 2 days. Unless you work for the public, you too may face such consequences. There would be such situations if the confidence vested upon you by the people is breached. People live with severe difficulties, and you will too face unexpected situations under the new Inland Revenue Act. According to the new act, public sector employees, pensioners and their savings are going to be taxed. I heard the former UNP finance minister mentioning that it was the IMF that structured this, but the government did not implement it then. The Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna today secured the mayoral position at the Sri Javadhanapura Kotte Municipal Council. Attorney-at-law Madhura Vithanage was elected as mayor of the country's capital city, securing a majority of 12 votes in an open ballot.
Following the February 10th local authorities election, 38 candidates were elected to the Sri Javadhanapura Kotte Municipal Council. Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna won the majority with 18 seats, followed by United National Party with 12 seats, United People's Freedom Alliance with 5 seats and Janatha Vimukti Peramuna with 3 seats. An open ballot was called today to elect the mayor for the Sri Javadhanapura Kotte Municipal Council, as SLPP candidate attorney-at-law Madhura Vithanage contested against UNP candidate Chandimanayana Jit. SLPP's Madhura Vithanage amassed 23 votes, which included votes from both the SLPP and UPFA. 11 out of 12 UNP councillors cast their votes for UNP's Chandimanayana Jit, while 1 abstained from voting. All 3 council members of the JVP abstained from voting. Accordingly, attorney-at-law Madhura Vithanage of Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna was elected mayor of the Sri Javadhanapura Kotte Municipal Council, while SLPP's Premalal Athukorala was appointed deputy mayor. Meanwhile, Jayantha Marasinghe of the SLFP was appointed mayor of the Dimbulagala Pradesha Sabha. Marasinghe was the only councillor presented for the mayoral position in a council of 21 members. However, SLPP members to the Dimbulagala Pradesha Sabha claimed that 4 of their members were not given the opportunity to participate at the session. In the meantime, SLPP lost the mayoral position to UNP at the Hanguranketa Pradesha Sabha despite winning the council's majority. UNP secured the mayoral post with a difference of just 1 vote. Meanwhile, at the Kolonna Pradeshya Sabha, supporters of its deputy chairman SLPP's Indunil Rajapaksa protested against his fellow party member and the new mayor of the Pradeshya Sabha T. Rupa Singha. They claimed that the mayor is unsuitable for the position. An intense situation broke out at the Beruwala Urban Council today between a UNP member and a member of an independent group when language became an issue.
So if you do not understand, that is not a problem to me.
There are people can understand, but there are few.
No, I don't mind at all.
This is Sri Lanka.
This is Sri Lanka. If you say that I can't speak English here,
You can speak English. I am talking about these are people, someone they can't understand. Don't be a fool.
My
This is the member of the council.
Chairman, support me to continue this one.
But they can't write English.
They can do it.
How do you do it?
You mind the business.
I mind my business. I am a member of the council.
President Maithripala Sirisena states that he expects to seek assistance from other countries highly advanced in technology to enhance the knowledge and skills of the country's military. The president made this statement presiding over a ceremony at the Sri Lanka Air Force Combat Training School in Diathalava today.
Sri Lanka Air Force Combat Training School in Diathalava was awarded with the President's colours today in appreciation for the service rendered by Sri Lanka Air Force over the past 67 years.
The sacrifice made by the Tri-Forces Police and the Civil Security Service during the period of war is unforgettable. As the government, we hope to develop this Air Force Combat Training School. With technology, we will seek the assistance of countries that are highly advanced in technology in order to develop the knowledge and technical know-how of the military.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Derana 24/7.
Welcome back everyone on to Business News. Oil rose towards $70 a barrel today, lifted by a drop in drilling activities in the United States and concerns that Washington could reintroduce sanctions against Iran. US drillers cut 7 oil rigs in the week to March 29th, bringing the total down to 797, the first decline in 3 weeks. The rig count is closely watched as the indicators of further US oil output. The international benchmark Brent crude rose to 58 cents to $69.92 a barrel. However, below its high of $71.28 reached on the 25th of January. Trading volumes was lower than normal as many countries were still on Easter holiday. US President Donald Trump earlier threatened to pull out of a 2015 international nuclear deal with Tehran, under which Iranian oil exports have risen. He has given the European signatories a deadline for May 12th to fix the terrible flaws of the deal. Oil has risen from a multi-year low, nearly $27 in January 2016, helped by production cuts led by the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and Russia, which started in 2017 and is due to run until the end of 2018. We spoke to an economic analyst to find out the implications on Sri Lanka.
I think the global oil prices hit the bottom line, I think about 2 years ago. Now it has gradually started picking up. We will see these prices going up a little bit more in the coming months. But as far as Sri Lanka is concerned, I think we are still holding on to the old oil prices, which is unfortunate. So that's why we see petroleum is taking a hit and IOC increasing the prices. So I think the oil prices, as far as it's picking up, one thing is the global economy is picking up gradually. US is picking up and there is a bit of uncertainty in the Middle East. And the Middle East also started cutting down the production some time back. I think now only it has started taking into effect. So which I feel is it will pick up in the next coming months, another $5 or $10. So which I think going forward, we have to brace ourselves for that one. Now also the summer is coming, it's a US holiday season. So with that also, I think the demand for oil will go up in US. Or when you combine all these things, I think the oil prices will go up going forward. As far as Sri Lanka is concerned, it's high time Sri Lanka Petroleum Corporation also increased the prices. With that, I think their interest rates also might pick up, global interest rates. Otherwise, there can be hit on our exchange rate and balance of payment, or because we are trying to sell at a below cost, which I don't think is sustainable in the short to medium term, even the long term.
In one of our headline stories, Minister of Finance and Mass Media Mangala Samaravira says that the purpose of the new Inland Revenue Act is to create a fair tax system for the country. He made this remark at a media briefing held at the Finance Ministry today. In Sri Lanka, we only collect 18% of direct taxes. The rest of income of the country is borne on the shoulders of 82% of the population. This new Inland Revenue Act is created in such a manner where we can increase the ratio between indirect and direct taxes from 18 to 82 to 40 to 60%. The main objective of this act is to further broaden the inland revenue as well as simplify the tax system. We also wish to create a standardized tax law which follows international regulations to ensure that nobody avoids paying taxes. Well, China hit back at the U.S. administration's steel and aluminium tariffs by imposing its own import charges of up to 25% on 128 U.S. imports. China had previously said it did not want a trade war but would not sit by if its economy was hurt. Trump, however, insisted that trade wars are good and that it should be easy for the U.S. to win one.
China's decision to suspend tariff concessions on 128 items from the United States will impact some $3 billion worth of imports to China from USA. The list of products include pork, fruits and wine. Beijing said the move was to safeguard China's interests and balance losses caused by last month's US tariffs. Accordingly, a tariff of 15% will be imposed on 120 products and another tariff of 25% on 8 items from the US. Despite worldwide objections, the Trump administration last month decided to impose a 25% tariff on steel imports and a 10% tariffs on aluminium, with imports from countries including China being affected. Although in violation of World Trade Organization rules, the US measure went into effect on 23rd of March, with the White House claiming it was acting to counter unfair competition from China's state-led economy.
Apologies there. Let's move on to the other business stories we have for you tonight. The ASPI closed negative as a result of price losses in counters such as Asri Hospitals Holdings, Love Gas and Commercial Bank, with turnover crossing to 2.2 billion rupees, supported by 92.9% of foreign buying. A similar behaviour was seen in the S&P SL20. Furthermore, foreigners remain active, closing as net buyers, mainly due to foreign purchasing in Selingco Insurance. We have Imesh Fernando from the Colombo Stock Exchange for more details.
The market capitalization at the end of the day was 3,020.11 billion rupees. Today's foreign purchases were 2.12 billion rupees and foreign sales were 513.51 million rupees. There were 13 crossings today and the crossing turnover was 1.47 billion rupees.
On to international news now. The Tiangong-1 saga is finally over as the Chinese space station that has been falling for years plunged through the Earth's atmosphere to the bottom of the South Pacific Ocean. Since China lost contact with the 9.4-ton Tiangong-1 in September 2016, space agencies had warned of failing space debris about the size of a school bus.
China's Tiangong-1 space station hurtled toward Earth today, burning up over the middle of the South Pacific as it re-entered the Earth's atmosphere. It plunged through the Earth's atmosphere around 12:15 GMT today. The 10.4-meter-long Tiangong-1 was launched in 2011 to carry out docking and orbit experiments as part of China's ambitious space program, which aims to place a permanent station in orbit by 2023. It was originally planned to be decommissioned in 2013, but its mission was repeatedly extended. On 21st March 2016, after lifespan extended by 2 years, the China Manned Space Engineering Office announced that Tiangong-1 had officially ended its service. They went on to state that the telemetry link with Tiangong-1 had been lost, and a couple of months later, amateur satellite trackers watching Tiangong-1 found that China's space agency had lost control of the station. Experts had struggled to predict exactly where the lab would make its re-entry, and China's space agency wrongly suggested it would be off Sao Paulo, Brazil, shortly before the moment came. US specialists at the Joint Force Space Component Command said they had used orbit analysis technology to confirm Tiangong-1's re-entry, and astronomer Jonathan McDowell from the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics tweeted that it appeared to have come down northwest of Tahiti, the largest island in French Polynesia in the South Pacific archipelago. It's not clear how much the debris from the 9.4-ton space station reached the Earth's surface intact.
South African anti-apartheid campaigner Winnie Mandela has died today at the age of 81. Winnie Mandela was the former wife of South Africa's first black president, Nelson Mandela. Making an official statement, her family spokesman Victor Dlamini said she died after a long illness for which she has been in and out of the hospital since the start of this year. End of quote.
You are watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
On to sports now. The second T20 international between Pakistan and West Indies are currently underway at Pakistan's capital city of Karachi. Batting first, Pakistan are currently at 164 for the loss of 2 wickets. Meanwhile, West Indies slumped to their lowest ever 2020 international score to lose the first match of the 3-match series against Pakistan in Karachi yesterday. The first international match in which Karachi in 9 years saw Pakistan post 203 for the loss of 5 in their 20 overs.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
A very good evening and welcome to Forecast First. Well, tomorrow will relatively be a warmer day with temperatures ranging between 20 and 33 degrees Celsius, with the lowest yet again expected in the Central Hills. We're looking at the map. A low pressure zone will form from the southern region of the island and will gradually disappear. Well, sunny weather is forecasted in the areas of Jaffna, Mannar, Trincomalee and Colombo, but in the areas of Kandy, Galle, Matara and Hambantota as well as Negombo will experience showers and thunder showers. That's all we have from the Weather Center tonight. Up next is your city by city forecast.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
And that is a part of We Are World tonight right here on Other Derana 24/7. I'm Mahesh Johnny. First at 9 will return tomorrow at the same time. Be sure to join us then. But before we wrap things up tonight, we'd like to share with you how people across the world celebrated the resurrection of Jesus Christ on Easter Sunday. Like Christians worldwide offered special prayers across churches to mark Easter, culminating different traditional practice. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a good night.
bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Derana 24/7.